कुछ तो करो, बचाओ. These industries with millions of employees, right? Thanks. With millions of employees would have had demands. Capital markets have gone through a tough period. Okay, everybody wanted some relief. Individuals wanted some cut in taxes. It takes a lot of courage to say no. If you see the budget, to my mind, the biggest positive of that budget is that it is a very conservative budget. It is conservative on what income we will generate for next year, how we will mop up revenues for next year, and how we will spend also for next year. Very conservative. It actually takes into the fact that there are so many uncertainties in the world, and if any of these uncertainties sort of fructify negatively, would we have space or would we have to go back on our promises? I think that is the biggest achievement this budget has, that we have kept a very conservative platform. There will be room for surprises as we go into the middle of the year, and we can actually end the year on a far stronger position than what we have promised, say, on fiscal deficit or even on spending. So I think I'll just lay down this part, and I think the bottom line for me is boring is good. This budget was conservative, and probably we can move to the next speaker.
Thank you, Ajit. Abhay, you're next. What are your thoughts on Budget 26?
So good morning, or good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to majorly focus on the indirect tax. Sorry, I'm audible now?
Yes.
So I'm going to focus on the indirect tax part of the budget. So as Sir mentioned, it's a straightforward budget, no dramatic changes from an indirect tax perspective. Specifically, because if I give you an example of GST, which happened 10 years ago. So basically, in that time, in the initial 4 or 5 years of GST, it was more of building the system across the GST system. But now, in the recent years, including this year, we see that this budget is more of correcting the issues which are there and supporting the system which has been built. On the revenue part of indirect taxes, we see a steady growth, which obviously indicates that there are good compliance standards, or the compliance in all has increased with standardization of systems across the systems. Now, if I touch upon three key areas of the budget, mostly starting with GST, there are changes. As Sir mentioned, 10 years ago when GST was implemented, there was a constitutional amendment to it. That's why, so GST in nutshell is a concurrent levy where the state and center both have implemented their own GSTs. So for that, there is a constitutional amendment required, and concurrent levy was put in. So these decisions regarding GST are mainly taken by GST Council, and that's why we see GST Council taking decisions in mid-year and not in the budget, because budget is a union activity. Now, coming to GST changes, there are a couple of important changes which I'll not go in detail, but there are some changes which deal about uh, giving clarity on issues which have been faced by the uh, companies and taxpayers. Moving to the next part of indirect taxes, the customs, where I see uh, lot of transformation happening. So it's not specifically to the money related aspect, but it is about more about facilitation to the importers and exporters in the country. We have seen in the recent times India having partnering with many countries like the UK or the US or the European Union with with free trade agreements. So essentially, these will boost the imports and exports or the global trade for India. And to support that system, the customs has given a lot of trade uh, activities they have undertaken for the importers and exporters, which will help the economy to grow. And yeah, so to sum it up, I think this budget is more of a uh, fine-tuning thing, which will help a long-term growth from a India perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. So continuing Make in India, continuing economic growth and indirect tax, abetting it, you think the budget has given a little bit of impetus and continuity to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhay. Yashwantji, over to you.
Good afternoon, friends, youth friends. Thank you, management committee, to invite us and my dais friends. So this budget is very important for future growth of Indian youth. So I will explain you about history of the economical pathway of Indian economy. In 1950s, once India independence, that India was in 10th position in the global ranking. Before 1991, we are not able to buy the car from the outside of India. The first Prime Minister of Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh passed the budget in 1991. Sir, present the detail about that budget. After that, economical reforms started. And 2016, demonetization happened. 2017, GST and reform started from fastly way from the 2017 only. So government trying to infrastructure development and other reform processes. So government trying to give better future for India. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yashwantji. Shivaji sir, over to you.
Good afternoon to all of you. On the dais of the dais, I am CMA Shivaji Rajmane. I want to share my idea. I want to share my idea regarding budget. What is a budget? Budget is nothing but it is a statement. It is an annualized statement regarding income and expenditure of the government. How government is going to generate income in a one financial year and how it is going to expand that income. It is called as a budget. It is regarding 2026 to 27. This budget is particularly regarding year 2026 to 27. It will start from 1st April 2026 and it will end on 31st March 2027. This budget is a fiscal budget and it have a fiscal deficit. Government income is less than government expenditure. Government expenditure is 53.84 lakh crore. It is almost 54 lakh crore. It is 12 zeros on the 54. 12 zeros on 54. That much amount of expenditure government is going to do. And government is going to generate 36 lakh crore. 36 lakh crore is going to generated by government in 2026-27. Government will face the deficit that is around 17 lakh crore. And it is nothing but it is a fiscal deficit. And every year government is providing budget which have a financial deficit. Because our country is a developing country and the government has to incur expenditure more to bring our country in the development stage. And in this budget, government has focused mainly on capital expenditure. Government is going to incur expenditure on capital asset that is around 12 lakh crore. And it is more beneficial to us as an Indian. We will get more assets, more infrastructure, so that there is opportunity to earn more. Our income generation capacity is going to increase. And this will increase as well as boost our economy. As well as our government is going to focus on defense budget. Government is going to incur around 8 lakh crore on defense budget. रक्षा क्षेत्र में 8 लाख करोड़ गवर्नमेंट इनकर करने वाला है. If after defense, government is going to focus on rural development, agriculture development, utilizing AI in an agriculture sector. This is a more focus regarding this budget as far as budget is concerned. Government is going to incur more than 1 lakh crore on health facilities in upcoming budget, in this budget, as well as government is focusing on the tourism sector. Government is focusing on the tourism sector that currently tourism sector is attracting only 1 crore people from the foreign country. By 2047, government is expecting 10 crore tourists from foreign country to our country. This is a goal. Government is focusing to develop 10,000 guide in 2026. A well-trained guide will be provided, and this kind of a training will be provided by government. Government is also focusing on the nuclear power project. Government is focusing on EV programs. In this way, this budget is focusing on the development aspect. Hence, I prepare this budget, and as far as my concern, budget is very good. And Dr. Nirmala Sitaraman, Finance Minister, has presented this budget on 1st February 2026. She has presented this 9th budget, and this is the first woman who has presented 9th budget in a Indian Parliament. This is from my end, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir has raised some very relevant statistics, but I would highlight two of them, very important again for students of budgets. One is the fiscal deficit. Okay, the question is, was it pegged at the right level? And I have an opinion, I think it was at the right level, but the experts will speak on it. But that's an important concept. Deficit financing budget is a normal budgetary focus these days around the world. You don't have to have a budget just equal to your revenue. You can actually have a deficit financing budget, which most countries do, which is a good thing, which is the way budgets are run. The second concept I think he raised importantly for all of you to consider is the quantum of capital expenditure. 12.2 lakh crores this year pegged at. What does it do? Does it create enough employment? Does it put investments into the hands of people? That's the question that students of the budget need to analyze and understand. Dr. Iyer.
Good afternoon to all of you. Being the last member on the panel is always tough because I think budget has been covered in all sense.
Not the least, sir, not the
But,
least.
but then, yeah, I would just like to add my 2 cents to it. Our finance minister pointed out on 3 kartavas, which were very important for all of us to understand in a more exhaustive way. I would like to just on those things very on the skimming the surface part, like acceleration of sustainable growth. Sustainability is the term which is running around these days in a great way. I remember one advertisement that used to get around in the WhatsApp. I would just like to quote that. A set of students and parents were invited to a school. And the parents were given all colors to make anything that they wanted to draw on a black. So what parents did was, they chose the best colors and drew very beautiful nature. Now, their children were given the same set of colors. But unfortunately, since the best colors were already used, the children had only black and white. So they also drew nature, but it was only black and white. And then the moderator called entire parents and children and showed all the pictures that were drawn. On one side, we had some colorful, beautiful pictures, and on the other side, we had only black and white. So, very beautiful the message was that if today's generation uses whatever is available in the nature, what is left out will be only black and white for the generations to come. A very strong message. Today, when we are looking at growth, we have to think about nature, we have to think about its impact, the carbon emissions that is happening, and so many aspects. So this was very rightly pointed out in the budget. Second, for the students' point of view, the most important thing that was highlighted by our finance minister was not only to dream for great success in life, but to actually participate in that. And finally, I think one of the biggest announcements that I remember is empowerment of women in true sense, where women entrepreneurs were invited to do business, and a huge subsidy kind of plan was initiated so that women entrepreneurs take charge and rule the business industry. And this is what is our vision. This is what is our future of India. Kartavya, the word was very apt as it is our duty. Many of us always concentrate on the rights. As a student, what right do I get? As a citizen of India, what right do I get? But then, rights always combines itself with duties, obligations that we need to do. And balancing both is what is expected from each individual. So as Aziz sir said, it is a conservative budget. I would just like to add, it is more of a balanced budget wherein almost everything was considered for making India a developed nation from the developing nation. It has almost achieved it with the vision and the direction which our Honorable Prime Minister has given. But definitely, we are now a different country and the entire world looks into us as a different proposition. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Iyer. So, the audience, you would have all seen 5 or 6 different perspectives. And I'm sure you have several questions in your mind. What I will do now is set out a few set questions which are important, which are relevant to all of you, which I think and I hope are relevant to all of you. And then we'll open it up for questions depending on how much time we have left. If that's fine, let me start. Dr. Iyer finished off very well with the kartavyas. I was going to kind of, if you have read the budget speech or if you heard the budget speech, the finance minister started the speech with 3 kartavyas. And she bucketed those 3 kartavyas into inclusion on one side, sustainability. So I'm going to start with the first kartavya, and this question goes to Asit ji. So in kartavya number 1, which was accelerating and sustaining economic growth, what do you think this budget has actually done or given in terms of that acceleration and sustaining of the economic growth?
Thanks for that question, and very nice to be part of a very distinguished panel, which is very diverse views. On particularly economic growth, see, I know vision is important and what direction, etc., but the reality is this, demographics are on our side, right? The whole world is looking at India to take over the manufacturing mantle because now China is aging. China is factory to the world. There are other issues, including trust issues with China. So they are looking at us to do it, right? Europe can't do it. They have an aging population, right? So one of the things that is expected from the budget is more than, tax incentives, grant, policy support, because that government can do at any point of time, okay? What it needs to do is remove the friction in doing business, because the growth will be there, conditions for growth are there, world wants to give you the opportunity to become the factory. Can we do it? And there are a lot of things that stop us, right? I think what the budget has done this time, again, is that first of all, removed the friction of high interest rates, right? When I'm conservative in my policies, in my fiscal deficit projections, I don't overstretch myself. I don't, see, one of the first fears that came when this government came back and we had a Ladki Bahin scheme was that are we going to go to that path of giving money in the hands of people but not building roads, bridges, rail, etc. I think what they have done in this budget is very nicely kept that pace going. In last 6 years, I think from 19 to now, the capital expenditure as a percentage of the GDP has actually doubled. In absolute amount, it's gone up even more. You heard that number, 12 lakh odd crores, right? So money they have kept. They have made sure that the private sector gets whatever incentive it is needed, whichever sectors are there where, say, probably economic viability is a question, EV or battery or even biotech for that matter, innovation, startups. They have made sure that there is enough budgetary support. They have kept enough money for education. I think all this is very good because it really will solidify our position as a manufacturing base going ahead. One of the things that the manufacturing company needs is that it needs a lot of capital. It needs capital for working capital, it needs equity capital, it needs debt. So if we are indisciplined in any way, and say suppose the interest rate go up by 200 basis points tomorrow, then the viability of the project will go for a toss. The working capital goes up, then the viability goes for a toss. So that's again what I'm coming back to my point, that being conservative, being not flashy, being not over-promising, sets a very good tone for the natural flow of growth, which is anyway, the growth tailwinds are on our side. They have just enabled it and made it stronger from here.
So thank you. Let
Thank
me
you.
just have a follow-up of this question.
Sure.
You mentioned, and I want to get a little specific just for everyone's benefit. So part of this was that there were 6 initiatives within this, and industrial, rare earths, and there were some 6 items. One of them is biopharma, and the allocation to budget was 10,000 crores. How do you think 10,000 crores pans out to create biopharma? How does it work? How does it work?
See, you are absolutely right. I don't know whether 10,000 crores is the right number, 100 is the right number, or 1 lakh crores. Okay? The point is, it is for the innovators to now step in and decide to use. The point is, if they use the 10,000 crores, does the government have capacity to put in another 30,000 crores? That's the question, right? So a lot of the schemes that you see in the budget, some of them don't really work because there are a lot of operational parameters that are needed. See, it's the government, so money cannot be spent recklessly. There will be a lot of checks and balances. Sometimes the bureaucracy is so much that a well-intentioned scheme doesn't go ahead, right? But the fact is this. If you ask me what 10,000 crores does, actually nothing. Because to innovate one drug sometimes, it costs more than, say, 3, 4, 5,000 crores in the developed market. So 10,000 crores really does nothing. But it's a good beginning. It's a thought process that when I, as a company, cannot take risk with my money because I don't know the outcome. We are just beginning. We are experimenting. At that time, if I get government support, we can come up. I mean, I don't know if all of you know, but right now there are 250 companies in this country which are developing drones of different types. So similar initiative, if you see 4 years back, they had kept some money for drones. Startup entrepreneurs took that. Some of them really developed. And you will not believe what kind of applications are there. Some of them want to deliver goods to your house. Some of them are putting, pesticides in the field. Some of them are actually used for defense purposes. So there are examples now where an active government which is sort of willing to work and want to make it work with policies, is willing to cut bureaucracy, can use this amount very well. That said, what is 10,000 crores? We'll see in future. I would think that it's a beginning to show some innovation, and it's up for the private sector to take it ahead.
That's a great message. That's a great
Thank you.
message. So you're saying it's a good start, but we don't know where
We
it
don't
will go,
know.
but
And that's
okay.
how it with the innovation, right?
Perfect, perfect. So मेरा कर्तव्य ये भी बनता है कि I look at the other panelists. So let me move to Dr. Iyer. You mentioned the second कर्तव्य of building capacities of aspirations, right? What in this budget actually addresses this aspirational aspect for the Yuva Shakti, for example?
Okay. Just as Aziz sir mentioned, if we look at the CapEx, the capital expenditure plan, it provides a huge field to all the budding entrepreneurs, innovators to give it a try. We always have to understand one very important aspect, that only thinking about good is not good. Doing at the ground level is what it actually is important. I very well remember the words of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir, which roughly meant that सपने वो नहीं जो नींद में देखी जाती है, सपने वो है जो हमें सोने ही न दे. So basically, what is your thought process regarding execution? Budget, as we all are discussing, is only a roadmap. But what happens actually, we always realize at the end of the year. So this gap always exists. As students, they have the finest of the opportunities available. Now their work is to upgrade their skill. The market belongs to those students who are ready to up their skills. They are ready to enter into multidisciplinary activities. They are ready to innovate and then try as to what best can be done. So basically for me to take up like Kartavya number 2, it is a opportunity. It is one of the best opportunity available to the people who are ready to try. Having an idea is a different thing, but putting it to plan is something that requires confidence, that requires knowledge, that requires courage to execute the plan. So Kartavya is definitely opening the doors of a new tomorrow for the young entrepreneurs, for the budding innovators.
Great. So let me continue with you, because there's one very interesting announcement made by the finance minister, which is very, very relevant to the design school of MIT, for example. And the finance minister made it was an innocuous statement, which was picked up, and I picked it up when I was coming to MIT, for example. And it said that they want to give impetus to animation, visual creativity, and gaming, right? And they are going to support, she just said, we are going to support the Institute of Creative Technologies to create 15,000 centers in schools and 500 centers in colleges to set up this. Now, is that it was just a statement. There's nothing I have seen in the budget. Is that something that people here can hope for?
Yeah, definitely. Again, as I said, it's a door for them. Instead of knocking the door, they have put open the latch. Now, how fast you make available yourself in terms of, again, knowledge comes first, application number 2, and then trying to innovate, trying to give to the world something new that is not existent is where the entire opportunity lies.
Thank you. Thank you. But I would just implore everyone here to take note of this, that there is a door that the government has opened for all the creative people for setting up 500 centers in colleges. Is that an opportunity for some of you or the faculty here? I think something to think about. Thank you. Shashwanji, now we are moving to something that's close to everybody's heart: investment, income generation, wealth creation. How has this budget provided, or what has this budget provided impetus on that front?
Government trying to give better opportunities to their citizens. Generally, this budget gives a best opportunity to middle class families for save their taxes. Obviously, tax collection has to be there, but they're trying to collect the taxes from higher income group, and they propose 5-6 years ago a new regime of the income tax, whereas citizens save their taxes. Also, the dependency of the inflation. So the inflation under control and tax save money, people can invest in the equity markets and they can achieve their financial goals.
Wonderful. So just stay on with it, and this is a question for both Asit sir and yourself. You know, when the finance minister began to start the announcements, she talked about raising securities transaction tax on futures and options. And if you were in front of a television, you started immediately seeing the Sensex come down, 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 became red, 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 red. And people were wondering that this is futures and options. It's not shares. Why is the market reacting like that? Any view on that? Is that something that we need to be worried about?
And long-term investors don't need to be worried about anything actually, not even the government, okay? Because long-term, the true path that we have where the per capita income of India, which is at about $27, $28, that will go to 5,000 and 10,000 and will consume differently and all that, so that will work, okay? Now, STT is a emotive topic. See, on a principle basis, when STT was introduced, it was introduced at a time when long-term capital gains was not there. Right? It was said that it is difficult to collect long-term capital gains and hence STT was put. STT is a very easy tax. Adding STT, it adds to friction of a capital market transaction. I have to consider that if I have paid 50 rupees, then I will not get 50 rupees back at the point. I will get goods worth 50 minus STT minus brokerage minus other charges. So what happens is there are a lot of transactions that happen in the market which are called arbitrage transactions, where people buy and sell futures and capture the arbitrage. Now, when somebody, and by the way, it's not a bad thing because it reduces the impact cost. Just for your information, the volume in the futures and options is multiples of the cash market volume. So what happens is it gives you easy and simple access. Like for example, you may not experience it individually, okay? But as an institutional fund, if I have to buy say 100 crores or 200 crores worth of some equity today, the price will start going up. Now if volumes are more, price will go up less. So again, friction comes. So FNO is important from that perspective. Anyway, I think, so the point is that any sort of tax increases friction. People don't like that, and hence the market sold off. That said, I think the objective is noble because for some reason, Indians have taken to speculation as a way of life. I know a lot of second generation people who say, I want to become a trader. I don't know what that means. Very difficult, trust me, to buy, sell, and make a living, right? You buy, hold, and make a living, I understand. You can't make a living, by the way. You have to work somewhere to buy and then make a living, right? But there is a tendency to speculate and make money, and I think that is what they want to discourage. If you actually see, one of the things that they did with online gaming, which was not in the budget, but little earlier, where all these speculative games like Rummy and your Dream 11, etc., they were also penalized in a similar way. Even casinos have been penalized in a similar way in the earlier budget. I think this is also one form of speculation that they wanted to cut down, and hence the friction. Market didn't like it for sure, but that said, we moved on.
Great. Anything to add, sir?
This budget, market collapse because STT goes from 0.002 to 0.005%. So anyone is not interested to cut their income from their profits. So, I want to elaborate on the taxation part on the mutual fund market. Before 2018 or 19, if I'm not exactly date, but that all long-term